what he did in game 1, whereby he completely shut down safety early on, and then his team started to shut down safety towards the mid game, that will help out the Azubu Taipei Assassins a lot. Other than that, we've seen Optimus in this lane against Morning, the same matchup. It is relatively even. This bot lane matchup will be very interesting though. Archie on his favorite champion with Junie, who's playing Lulu support, which we have not seen from Junie in a while, up against a more traditional bot lane in this 2014 season. And even the 2013 season, we saw a lot of Lucian Thresh bot lane combos, which is really strong compared to this Ezreal-Lulu combination, which we rarely saw in Season 3, and we saw a lot of Season 2. Has not been seen lately at all in the 3.14 patch. So both teams missing out each other. Azubu TPA don't go for the delay invade. This time they're going to go straight to that blue buff. They're sticking around S5 though, but QTV has already gone back to base. So I don't really think that Saigon Jokers can contest this without QTV there.
It was almost like they were playing a game of tag there, and with the ward placed down by Saigon Jokers there, they will be able to kind of spot out the members for Taipei Assassins, and now Dinter takes a Q to the face, and BB now, you know, just poking back and forth for both teams. And there you go, the death sentence onto Junie. Now will he go down? He has to flash out of that one, and now safety will be brought out as well onto Archie, and it's a very messy engage in level 1, and safety now has to go back. Dinter being brought down relatively low as well. Now BB is the one that has to run away, so lots of sun runners being burned out in that one, but I would say Saigon Jokers might be the one to come on top of that one.
Flash time might come out from QTV though, he does get it.
Right, and it does like it's gonna be first blood for Junie. So Saigon Jokers come out ahead with this aggressive play. So even though Junie was the one that was caught out in death sentence, but there was just not enough crowd control on the side of Taipei Assassins to just deter them away. Like we kind of mentioned it before that Saigon Jokers, they do have that crowd control superiority.
SAJ played their team fight at level 1 really well. Besides QTV going back to base, they were able to contain Azubu Taipei Assassins in a small area, and when they engage, SAJ just had a really strong level 1 to deal with it. They had Ezreal. Ezreal alone provides so much damage for an AD carry at level 1, being able to throw out those mystic shots consistently against the Azubu Taipei Assassins. And we saw the hook onto Junie. Junie instantly flashed straight away, got out of the danger zone. All the damage that went down onto Junie, along with the solo ignite onto Junie, was negated from that flash alone. Allowed him to get into a safe position and put out good damage to Archie. He has to actually shift up. They will be fine despite taking some damage to his health, but that was not like Azubu Taipei Assassins. The first game we saw them be very patient. They waited very long to get the delay invade off into the Saigon Jokers jungle. That one, they rushed it, got caught in the bad position, forced a really messy fight, and got set back behind because of it.
Right, I guess a small consolation for them is that the kill went over to Junie in that sense, so the carries for Saigon Jokers were unable to secure the extra goal in the pocket, but you know, nevertheless that assist goal would put them ahead, especially in this laning phase. So what I expect for Taipei Assassins to kind of lay low a little bit, make sure that they can spot out the entire squad of Saigon Jokers before going in for any aggressive plays.
Gonna have to see how this game does pan out from here though. In the 2014 season though, early kills don't matter as much as they used to. They used to be able to decide the flow of the game from level 1, but now, especially with the kill going on to Junie, it might not be that significant to the Saigon Jokers. It's still a kill nonetheless. We saw that Oriana was able to head back to base and grab second Storm's ring. We'll be heading back to the mid lane very shortly, but this time, Morning not having any of it coming out from Optimus. He was able to send him back to base and has double the minion score of Optimus right now.
So let's see if the Doran split will be able to change anything with the double Doran ring as well. If it will play in the favor of Optimus at this point of time. And once again, it's almost like staple for both of them. Morning will be on Gragas and Optimus will be on that Oriana pickup, and now we do see Dinter down the bottom lane. They want to just shove it down the face of Saigon Jokers. They are going straight up for this 3-man push down into this bottom lane.
Should be an easy push for the Azubu Taipei Assassins here. They do have 3 members, so if they are not able to take down this turret, they should be able to get it down to about another minion wave before they can finally take that one down. We saw that Archie was pushed out of base, and just so happened that Dinter was close by to that bottom lane, so was able to help out with the push with a really nice minion wave that was able to help them out as well. They should be able to take down this tower and get the first tower of the game against the Saigon Jokers.
Right, so they do take it out for themselves, so at this point of time sitting at a good close to 500 goal lead over Saigon Jokers. But the key thing to that was that because Safety was unable to respond at all, he was unable to give aid to the bottom lane, or he was unable to push out top lane as well. But in the meantime, we do see the engage go down, and it does look like Junie will go down in that process. And Jay now catching Archie with the death sentence. He will go down as well to the Ignite, no doubt about that. Dinter secures that kill, so bringing the kill count once again back to the Taipei Assassins' advantage.
So we saw that once again, SAJ being a bit too complacent, and this looks more like the Azubu Taipei Assassins. They're slowly slowly making the plays that they need to against the Saigon Jokers. We saw the tower push there was not rushed by the Azubu Taipei Assassins. They waited for that patiently. Dinter just so happens to be nearby, were able to push Ezreal out of the lane, and then they were able to take the tower. Just so happened that the Saigon Jokers bot lane decided to stay in lane while Dinter was around, so they got a nice 2-kill pickup out of that. They tried to go for the dragon there, but SAJ tried to stop them, so decided not to do so eventually.
Right, so having all this early game advantage, that would definitely translate into something else as we move on slowly into the 7-minute mark. And I think the thing about Taipei Assassins is that we just need to keep this up rolling, because they don't want to be in a position where Saigon Jokers can force engage onto them. Then there'll be a spot where they can't really deal with it. And with the superior AoE advantage that Saigon Jokers have, they will definitely be able to bring the punch to them.
KTB here is not doing too bad on Jax at all. He's maintaining an even minion score to the Shyvana lane up in the top. We saw earlier in the first game, Saigon Jokers were playing Shyvana up against the Jax, and the difference was they had a gank, but now they're going to have a gank again against Archie, able to get out of that one. But the first game we saw that Olaf, played by Dinter, was able to gank the Shyvana that was played by QTB in the first game, and twice they were able to pick up a kill onto the Shyvana, which allowed Jax to snowball up in the top lane. This time though, QTB has not had the help from Safety that we saw Archie get from Dinter in the first game, which is being the difference between the matchup so far.
Right, so you kind of call it in that sense. The difference in the early game will be determined by Dinter and Safety itself. So I think Dinter has done his part relatively well, called for good rotations, eventually taking down the bottom turret and the 2 kills as well. And because they're now Taipei Assassins now sit a relatively more comfortable range for them to go to, and now they are starting work on Dragon now. This look like Taipei Assassins should be able to pick it up with ease with the smite as well, so once again furthering their goal gap. And does look like Safety, he is not really on the game that he wants to be in. So even though he has hit the level 6 mark, but Taipei Assassins now grabbing some good advantages on the way out now.
So once again, I mean, we saw earlier SAJ wanted to pick up Elise. They looked like they were going to pick up Elise going into this game. I thought it would have been a much better champion for Safety to play in this jungle besides Vi. Vi's early game is not weak, but it's not incredibly strong either compared to Dinter and Olaf, who is consistently strong throughout all phases of the game. Elise is exactly the same, very strong in all phases of the game, and I felt like if SAJ went for that Elise pickup, they would have been able to maintain an even CS score in the jungle, which we see right now is the same, which is the case. They're both even in terms of minion score, but would also have been able to help the lanes of the Saigon Jokers, which Safety has not been able to do so on Vi just yet.
So now Junie starting work and defending the blue buff for Optimus at this point of time. And we know for a fact that Taipei Assassins, they like to deny away the blue buff away from the opposing mid laner. It does look like Morning might want to come in for the snipe here, and as he gets brings it down. It does look like, did he get me? No, he didn't get it, but it looks like Optimus didn't get it either, so the blue buff has disappeared, and I think Safety just smited it just to deny that away from Morning.
So you see now Azubu Taipei Assassins, they were able to pick up that very early bot lane tower. So Archie has been split pushing on Ezreal at the bot lane for some time, picking up a lot of minion score from that, but still not significantly ahead of Lucian just yet, but still might be able to eventually catch up to that. Meanwhile, we saw the AD carry and support rotate to the mid lane for the side of the Azubu Taipei Assassins, and now Jax might be caught in a really, really bad position.
We might see QTV getting called out as Archie now jumping in with the burnout as well, and now the counter strike being popped. Winter will give chase with the goals there, and now QTV will try to juke out the way with the build for the Cutlass, but so much more damage being applied on both Winter as well as Archie. So, and now Safety will jump in through the rope with the Assault and Barrier, and Morning will actually go down to safety there. So a very good combination of both the Assault and Battery as well as the True Shot Barrage. That was enough damage, and just feel like Morning, once again, he needs to get his positioning in place.
He showed us, we saw last game, Morning's positioning was fairly lackluster. He allowed the Saigon Jokers to catch him off guard and out of position so many times, which allowed the Saigon Jokers to pick up so many objectives as well. If he continues to do this in this game, that may allow the Saigon Jokers to creep back into this game. And once again, SAJ are not making the plays they need to. We saw in the second game they made so many aggressive plays to force an advantage ahead of the Azubu Taipei Assassins. They've proven that they can do it. This game, once again, just besides that gank onto Morning, they're just allowing the Azubu Taipei Assassins to slowly go for these objectives, go for these small skirmishes that Azubu Taipei Assassins want, and also the pickups onto the champions of the Saigon Jokers. That Saigon Jokers are really not trying to control the game at all, which they need to, because even if they go even, Azubu Taipei Assassins have shown that when they go even, they still slowly creep ahead.
I hope that they have kind of saw what happened in game number 1 and, you know, force this 5v5 engages before anything goes, you know, too far ahead in their favor. And because at this point of time, we do see some item discrepancy for BD finishing up that Bloodthirster already, and Archie, you know, still sitting on that BF Sword as well as that Vampiric Scepter. But I would say if they want to go for the team fight, they should do it now. And then if they are able to pull off a great engage, then definitely the advantage will swing in their way once more.
So Azubu TPA looks like they want to group up to this mid lane. It will be another objective they can take fairly safely, which they have been doing this entire best of 5 so far, just slowly going for those objectives. SAJ really need to respond and stop Azubu Taipei Assassins in their tracks. Stop them from taking these objectives that they want to take and start making plays. So Archie here might get locked down.
Right, and Archie with Dragon's Descent not enough to actually get away from safety, and QTV has to burn the flash away in the process, and Jay barely missing that death sentence. And you know, the entire team of Taipei Assassins wanting to make work on this mid lane turret, but between both Archie and Optimus as well as Julie, they still have enough wave clear potential to take away the waves that come along the way.
So Azubu Taipei Assassins are doing a very good job in terms of vision control and map control as well. They have kept the Saigon Jokers behind the first turret this entire game. They have, not entire game, sorry, but for the past 5 minutes, the Saigon Jokers have barely left past the first tower or the river at all, while the Azubu Taipei Assassins are just walking throughout the jungle of SAJ and to any lane and as far down as they please.
Well, and with the deep wards in as well, it does feel like they might be able to catch someone off guard if they find that they are out of position. So Saigon Jokers, they have this defensive wards in place as well, so I just feel like they are kind of playing to the calls of Taipei Assassins just right as of now.
So we're gonna wait and see what either of these teams decide to do. Dragon will be up in about 30 seconds. I will not be surprised if the Azubu Taipei Assassins try to pick that one up. Olaf will cross paths with some of the Saigon Jokers here, but nothing happens between them. So I have a feeling that Azubu Taipei Assassins might make a final push for this mid lane tower and then transition to the Dragon pickup, because Savannah has been split pushing this bot lane, getting it shoved up towards the second turret of the Saigon Jokers, and Dragon will respawn now, and it looks like they will go instantly for it.
This look like the Taipei Assassins will be able to pick that up for themselves once again with no contest from Saigon Jokers, or more like they were not really in the position to kind of counter it for that end. Now we do see Archie jump into the fray, and the 3-man shockwave onto Optimus is not going to be enough though, and Seki tries to jump into the fray with the Ball breaker as well. Now Archie taking a whole lot of damage from Archie once again, but it does look like Archie has to run away from his life, as we do see QTV giving chase onto Archie, but not enough damage just of yet. Optimus now getting chased down by Morning there, so everyone on Azubu Taipei Assassins relatively low, but it was overall a 1-for-3 exchange, as Dinter now gives chase onto Archie here with the final undertow. That will be it for him, so it's a 1-for-4 exchange as of total.
So, getting into a replay of that fight, you can see here Archie gets a nice jump onto Junie and Archie here, as you see Walgrove has popped onto Junie. The nice shot where it comes in from Optimus, but the true shot barrage will miss here, and that's a chunk of damage that the Saigon Jokers really needed. Safety will try to jump in, but will get stopped by the Destin as it comes off of Jay. He uses ult onto Jay as well, which is a surprising target. Archie is not able to finish off Archie as well, as Safety will get taken down. QTV came from the back to pick off BB, but is not able to take down Archie here, and Archie also not able to take down Archie in this situation. So they were not able to focus their damage correctly onto the Azubu Taipei Assassins, and the fact that they allowed the Azubu Taipei Assassins to initiate onto the Saigon Jokers without any form of hard initiation allowed them to get ahead in the fight, because they have so much sustained damage from Shyvana, Olaf, Gragas, and Lucian.
So we're starting to see that this item advantage will swing in the way of Taipei Assassins at this point of time, because they have a good 6,000 gold lead just 16 minutes in against the Saigon Jokers, and it does feel like it's reminiscence of game number 1, slowly taking away objectives from Saigon Jokers and then converting that into items advantage, and then going in for skirmishes that they find that are in their advantage. So even though it's a rather risky call, and speaking about risky calls, just feel like Jay want to go in for this one. Safety has to go out of the way with the bot breaker, and now Dinter pops the Ragnarok as well, but just feel like Taipei Assassins will not give chase, and they will be happy with that exchange. And meanwhile, Archie once again being that split pushing madness that Saigon Jokers are not really able to respond to, and now QTV, even though he is the excellent brawler and having that Blade of the Ruin King completed already, but Archie still has his Some Fires kit, and he himself has the Ghost Watercolors, and now Jay actually getting baited in with the Assault Battery as well. There we go, Morning jumping into the fray with the explosive cast as well. Dinter will follow suit onto Safety there. It does feel like he might go out in the process, and with 3 members chasing him, that is definitely the end of him there, and Morning picks up the kill onto that one.
Safety once again, I'm not sure why he keeps using his ultimate onto the support. The Azubu Taipei Assassin, he doesn't have the damage he needs to shut down a target by himself. And I want to talk a little bit about the difference between Dinter and Archie, between QTV and Safety. I mean, we saw in the first game, at this point of the game, Archie on Jax was able to bully QTV on Shyvana. The roles are reversed now, and still Archie is bullying QTV on Jax. And Dinter's played a huge role in that. He was able to help Archie out early on when he was playing Jax, and also when he's playing Shyvana. Safety really has not been able to help his team out.
And now there we go now with Optimus taking the death sentence, and BB won't be able to take it out for himself, and Junie securing the kill to Jay there. BB having the calling to try to deter away some of the members of Saigon Jokers, and now Safety giving chase onto Dinter there, and Dinter turning it around for himself, and Archie jumping into the frame with the Dragon's Descent as well, and now QTV joins the fight, and QTV will give chase onto Dinter with the Ragnarok being popped as well. Does it look like Dinter will go down in the process? The leap strike will do the trick, but in the meanwhile, Morning was split pushing on his own up in the top lane. So once again, another objective being taken away by Taipei Assassins with all this commotion down in the skirmishes in the jungle.
So SAJ got the fight they want there. They were able to pick up Dinter in that fight and get a few of the members of Azubu Taipei Assassins down low. They picked the fight in a situation where they had more members than the Azubu Taipei Assassins. That was the right thing to do, especially when the Saigon Jokers are behind the Azubu Taipei Assassins, and they are behind by about 8,000 gold as well, which is a significant advantage for the Azubu Taipei Assassins. And we saw in the first game, when TPA gets such a good advantage ahead of the Saigon Jokers, they continue to work on that advantage slowly but surely.
Right, and we do have the Dragon coming back up in about close to a minute's time, and it does feel like Taipei Assassins might be taking that away once again from Saigon Jokers. So with, you know, a good 7,000 gold lead over Saigon Jokers. They are in the driving seat to take away game number 3 as of this one, but for Saigon Jokers, what they still have is that growing potential that QTB is carrying on his back with the Jax pickup. If they find one good engage in, then probably he might start to change things around for Saigon Jokers.
QTB just really doesn't have the items he needs, though. We can see that Shyvana has already built up that Sunfire cape, and also we see the Blade of the Ruin King picked up by Shyvana. Jax only has that Blade of the Ruin King available right now. Has not even managed to finish his phage just yet. And once again, Azubu Taipei SAS is doing what they've always been doing. They put Archie down in one of the side lanes and split push, while the rest of them slowly group up together. They don't do it at the same time, but they will walk around the map and then slowly group up for an objective and disperse once again. Walk around the map, group up for an objective, disperse once again. Which they've been doing this entire game and game 1 as well. They'll probably go for Dragon here as a respawn and also take away this blue buff.
Right, so denying that away from Optimus once again. I feel like in all 3 games so far, Optimus hasn't got all of the blue buff for most of parts of it. And I think it is a determining factor as well, because Morning sitting very comfortably with the blue buff will be able to outlane Optimus for the most part, as we see in the CS difference.
So earlier when we talked about the gold score, Saigon Jokers were behind by 8,000 gold. Now it's 9,000 gold. TPA is still slowly creeping up in terms of their gold advantage. They're slowly expanding that lead. And we saw in game 1 as well, they will wait for that critical point where SAJ really cannot handle a 5-man team fight. Force an objective like Baron, which SAJ will really have to try and respond to, and then punish them for the gold lead that they allowed Azubu Taipei to achieve early on and decimate them in that fight.
Right now, and Archie taking some third aggro and TV balling it out with him as well, and it does feel like, you know, Taipei Assassins, they are not done just of yet. They are not contented with just taking away the blue buff. They want to take away the red buff as well, so just taking away everything from Saigon Jokers at this point of time. And Saigon Jokers, I think they are quite at a position where they are not too sure what to do and how to respond to this aggression that Taipei Assassins has put in place with them.
So still, once again, Azubu Taipei Assassins not trying to force anything at all, but then again, Saigon Jokers are not trying to either. And as I said in game 1, the window has really closed for the Saigon Jokers to try and force a team fight and try to win the fight based off their picks alone. They really need to start clawing back in terms of this gold disadvantage that they are currently in. They need to start picking off individual members of the Azubu Taipei Assassins, or try and sneakily grab a tower from the Azubu Taipei Assassins, because they have not managed to even take down a single outer turret from the Azubu Taipei Assassins just yet.
But I would say that is credits to Taipei Assassins, because for the most part, they always ensure that their lanes are pretty much shoved out before they go for any attempts to take away the objective. Like we mentioned and talked about earlier, Archie was always by himself at the bottom lane to make sure that the lane is shoved out. And there we go now. Junie will actually meet up with Archie will meet up with Junie with the Dragon's Descent, and Archie will be the solo member to deter away every single one of Saigon Jokers. And I think it feels like Taipei Assassins might not think that this is the safest choice to go for, so they back away from the Baron Pit. But meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Morning is once again being that split pusher by himself, and once again just shoving out this bottom lane, and Archie moving up to the top lane as well. So everyone is just doing their split pushing efforts, and once again the combination of the Assault Mary and True Shot Barrage will apparently be enough to take out Jay away from the equation. And will this be the turning point that Saigon Jokers might be looking to take advantage of? But the only member that went out in the process was Jay, so it might not be anything too much. And the explosive cast jumping onto Taipei Assassins at this point of time, and it does feel like Morning will go down in the process, and QTV picks up that kill. And this might be the fight that they are looking for now. Safety soaking up a whole ton of damage on the side of Taipei Assassins. Now Archie has to back away, but the red buff will be enough, and BB is here to clean house the janitor release for him, and it will be a double kill for both BB and Archie respectively, and as it is an ace for Taipei Assassins.
Once again, Azubu Taipei Assassins They tried to force Baron, they were not able to do so, but still got a team fight out of it. Despite losing Jay early on because of safety jumping in onto him with a true shot barrage coming in from Archie, they were able to turn that team fight around and pick that one up. Because of that, once again, they're going to be able to try and take this Baron buff, and with the respawn time as well, with SAJ just respawning, they should be able to take it out with.
Right, so I like what BB did there. He just, without any hesitation at all, used the calling, and we did see the true shot barrage kind of make its appearance down in the ball, into the Baron pit as well, but it's not going to be enough damage to try to snipe that away. But at the very least, Saigon Jokers know that the Baron is a gone cost for them.
I really like Azubu Taipei Assassin's playstyle coming into this game against the Saigon Jokers because they're so patient with the plays that they're making. They're very patient to slowly pick up objectives, very patient to pick the team fights that you want to fight, and patient to force team fights as well. They're being very patient to say, SAJ, you can fight us now if you want, but you're not going to win. And when SAJ try to fight, they always try to back off, which SAJ have not been doing a lot of this game. They have not been trying to contest the Azubu Taipei Assassins. It looks like a very one-sided match compared to the previous game.
That's right, and it's like what we mentioned earlier, it's always been one-sided games for either team, and with Taipei Assassins now building a good 12,000 goal advantage over Saigon Jokers, it feels like they are just waiting for the right chance to close out this game.
Gonna have to see what the Azubu Taipei Assassins do next, and I say that because they do have Baron buff right now, and normally the team with Baron will be the team that decides to try and make the play. We see a lot of members of Saigon Jokers try to catch Archie out in this top lane on Shyvana. Not able to do so as the Dragon will just run away. I feel like we'll see a push for mid lane after Lucian clears out the minions in the bot lane. Or we could still potentially see one of the side lanes being pushed up. I mean, all the outer turrets are down for the Saigon Jokers, so only the inhibitor turrets are left. And with Baron buff up for the Azubu Taipei Assassins, it's the perfect time to try and take down one of these inhibitor turrets.
I love that position for Taipei Assassins in this one. It's effectively a 1-3-1 formation for them. We have Archie up in the top lane, and both Morning and BB just shoving it up effectively in the mid and the bottom lane, and with both Jay and Morning just rotating around to see which lane needs the most assistance. And now we do see QTV jumping into the fray, but taking a whole lot of damage into his face, and the calling pops as well, and with the explosive cast just pushing everybody away from their own turret, and does feel like Taipei Assassins should be able to take out this bottom turret for themselves, and that's going to be the first inhibitor turret going down. Will they push on for the inhibitor? Does not look like that's the case, but Archie now putting on some pressure at the side as well, with the top lane turret now taking some damage on its own. It might feel like Archie just wants to jump into the fray from the back to push everyone back in with the Dragon's Descent.
You could possibly see a team fight come out here. We see Death Sentence lands.
Oh, there we go with the Death Sentence landing up to safety. He will be brought right back into the fray, and Dinter now having so much health on his own end, and Archie will dive into the back lines with the Dragon's Descent to take out Optimus on his own end. So overall, it is a 3-for-0 exchange as Azubu Taipei Assassins now looking strong, taking out the Nexus turret slowly and steadily, and as we say that Death Sentence landing onto QTV there, that's going to be game number 3, I feel, for Taipei Assassins, as they make work on the last Nexus turret, and everyone just dashing into the base, and that's going to be the base for them, and they want more kills while they brought Thirsty Squad for them. Game number 3 going into the advantage of Taipei Assassins. GG, well played, and that is